Happy Wednesday.
Happy Hump Day.
Wednesday.
We're here. It's hump day. We're gonna paint. And we got Shelby.
And I have a Capricorn.
And she got herself Capricorn. Meticulous Chaos,
Well,
thank you so
huzzah,
much
huzzah. I'll just
for the
throw
tier
back my
1
legs
sub.
and pollute my britches with delight.
Gabe, you can't tell me what to do.
What was that voice, Jay? You don't get to know, T. Schmidt. That one's a low one for me.
Hi, Ghost Hunter.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to our Wednesday stream. Paint Liquor, Ghost Hunter. I am Ray. Not first. Nice. We got T. Schmidt, Wad Tomato N.
What's
That's
up,
where
Wad?
he is. He finally appeared. He wasn't here yesterday. Lazy bum.
Voss?
We got that, like, Jabe guy. I don't know who the heck that is. Some weird dude. He's, like, off in a building. In a room right next to us or something. He makes a lot of noise. Kind of stinky.
Crazy, little stinky, little smelly.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, welcome. We are back to our, I might say, begrudging
Well, huzzah,
February
huzzah.
challenge,
I'll just throw back
where
my
I'm
legs
painting
and pollute
non-metallic
my britches
metal.
with delight.
Woo! We did it!
And I don't know how we got here, folks.
Yeah, Wad was here yesterday.
But were you not here? Oh, it must have been Monday. I get my days mixed up. They're all blending together.
Root the Great, thank you for the sub.
I like it too, but don't tell Shelby that. She might get herself a little too sad.
I'm not deaf.
Well, huzzah, huzzah. I'll
Lumberjack
just throw
Tim,
back my legs
subscribe
and
to tier
pollute
1.
my britches with delight.
Thanks, Lumberjack Tim.
What's up, Tim? Well, I think we got ourselves a nice little bit of color to start from today.
Yeah.
We are going to,
I have some pink flowers you could use.
That would be so funny. Oh my goodness.
Be in a field of flowers.
I'm trying to think of, I want to make this a little bit more pink, maybe?
You could do transparent red, maybe.
Oh. I have been using transparent red. That is one of the colors that's been used on this.
Haha. Hi, Panic Bomb.
Panic Bomb! Arcade. Hello. Hello, everyone. We're here today. Talk about pink colors. How you doing today, Shelby?
I'm good.
All right.
Hi, Source. Awkwardish Panda.
Awkwardish Panda with the raid.
Thank
Hello,
you.
everybody. And Awkwardish. How are you all doing today? How's the stream?
Panda
We're painting
party.
pink.
The best panda
Begrudgingly.
party. Begrudgingly, he
Welcome,
says.
Panda Party.
You know what? It's the same story with Jason. They say begrudgingly.
They say
oh, I'm so sad to
begrudgingly."
be painting pink. Deep down, they're enjoying it. You love it.
No, I don't love it. I hate it. I detest it.
Mm-hmm.
Life will never be the same.
Everyone believed you.
No one believes you. Well, that hurts my soul a little bit.
Just in this specific instance.
Still hurts my soul. Still hurts my soul, Shelby.
Sounds like Jordan got into the Capricorns today. Rare form today.
Well,
I
you
sprinted
want to know.
to go get a Capricorn.
Yeah, she literally ran. Like, sprinted.
Yeah.
Sprinted is
I was-
not an exaggeration.
I was back in like 30 seconds.
Yeah, I was like, dang, Shelby, you got back real fast.
Couldn't be late.
She wasn't messing around. She was not going to be late.
Nope.
Alright, pull these colors down.
Awkwardish Panda has been lurking. Lurking while you work.
Lurking while you're working? Watching from lurk as you've been working. Oh, on previous days, I was like,
Mm-hmm.
what do you mean? You were just working. You came here from stream.
Source is following Fuse's guide on painting skin and failing spectacularly at it.
Well, we might
Failing is the first step.
have the
to
blessing
greatness.
of Fuse's company at some point here during stream.
Maybe.
Maybe. I was not told that he wasn't going to be here today, so that means
It's true.
anything could happen.
Anything can happen.
Like Shelby singing. Anything can happen.
Awkward has said, I do lurk when streaming, though. Gotta support when I can.
Hey,
There you go.
thank you. Your support is much appreciated and much adored.
Multitasking. It's
Yeah, you
impressive.
gotta multitask. What's life without a little bit of multitasking?
Probably has a lot less mistakes.
Well, yeah, probably. That makes sense.
Jordan, how was your day today?
Busy, actually.
Yeah, you had your door closed a lot.
I had my door closed a lot because I was trying to focus on getting a short edited.
Oh,
And
makes sense.
that is a thing that's relatively new for me, so I wanted to focus on making sure I had all my attention focused on getting it done
It's fair enough.
correctly.
Jordan was reading fan fiction all day.
Yeah, of course. You know me.
Wad
Fan
said,
fiction about what? That's my question.
I don't know.
What on earth do you think I would be
I don't think I want
reading?
to ask that question.
Well, you know what the real answer to that question, Shelby, is nothing.
Yeah, I
'cause-
know, but I don't want to know what Ghost Hunter would come up with.
Ah, there we go. Okay.
That's more my fear.
Knowing them, it would be something untoward.
Wad said that you were napping. He called you a liar.
Well, I definitely wasn't doing that.
Ghost Hunter said Don Mahogany fan fiction.
Ooh, that's actually a pretty good one. I have to admit, that's actually pretty good. Not the fanfic isn't good. That comment was good. I thought that was funny.
We have a
What kind of
Jason
tomfoolery is going on in here?
singing and
Apparently-
dancing.
According to what was it? Wad Tomato.
Ghost
Oh
Hunter.
no, it was Ghost Hunter.
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently Ghost Hunter thinks I was doing nothing but reading Don Mahogany fanfic all day.
Quite possible.
Blue Lady.
Blue Lady.
Yeah, but I think I'm going to paint over her.
Oh.
Ooh.
Now that you have all the colors at your disposal instead of the random assortment.
No, I liked what was going on, but I think I want to do a something different. I haven't been being very inspired in paint lately, so
That's not a laughing matter, Gabe. We don't laugh at that one. That was not a laughing joke.
Game Delay said, why did I immediately think Don Mahogany fan fiction would be the steamy sort?
would be what?
The steamy
The
sort.
steamy sort.
Well,
It is Dawn.
it actually is.
Steamy man deserves steamy fanfic.
How we doing, chat?
I don't know. They're doing just about as good as they normally do, which is a little bit on the crazy sad.
Great, I love it.
I just want to warn you as well. Shelby has acquired herself a Capra Sun.
A Caperson.
A Capra Sun.
A
Yep.
Caperson.
We went through this the other day.
That's not how that works, but okay, Shelby. Okay, Shelby. You do you.
Last time I had a Capri Sun, Wad made me cry.
What made
Laughing.
you cry?
Well,
gave me-
she made herself cry.
I made myself cry laughing, but Wad helped.
Apparently, I was a witch, and I was getting into his brain. He told me to get out.
And it was hilarious.
Get out of my head, witch, was what he said. I think it was because we said the same thing at the same time.
Angela said, oh, is Jordan painting a Caperson of Horus? I had forgotten about that chapter.
What?
A Caperson of Horus. Caperson? Son of Horus?
Sure. Capra Son of Horus. I apologize for our antics, by the way, Jason.
You apologize for what?
Our antics.
Already apologizing?
Yep.
Show's only been going on for like 10 minutes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's not going to get any better. I'm going to tell you that right now.
This is a prophetic apology.
Yeah,
Yep.
Yes.
I know what's coming.
Yes. I was here
I
The
know
day
the
that
man in
you
the
were
mirror
gone.
well enough to know I should apologize now.
Yes.
I am showing exactly what texture trainers are for right this minute.
By painting over it.
I
Right.
use this
Thank
as
you.
a good
Cool.
way on Miniacs Paint Stream to show how to do blue flesh, white hair, and now I'm painting over it just with some quick primer. We're going to do something different now.
So fun. The
Uh,
possibilities are
you-
truly endless.
You want to know what's really funny? I literally had an internal monologue in my head seconds ago about, I wonder how long it's going to take chat to make a comment about how he's pulling a BabyJ. And then I literally looked up at the screen, and the bottom comment was Mod Tomato saying, Fuse is taking a page out of BabyJ's book, painting over painted models. I was like,
Nope.
well, I guess I didn't need to say anything.
Incorrect. I am using the texture trainer for exactly what I designed it for.
Yeah, it's the only thing you can paint over BabyJ and it be acceptable.
It's made for that. I've already painted the box art, so I didn't change anything on that one.
Game Delay has a 70 stream streak.
That's really long.
It is.
Actually.
He said, and to think all my exes said I was afraid of commitment.
Well,
I
you're committed to us.
love it.
You are demonstrating that is wrong.
Well, you make time for the things that you care about.
That's true.
He loves us.
Thank you, Game Delay, for your love.
He does love us.
Jason, how was your day today?
How's my day?
Yeah,
Mhm.
Good.
good.
Good. I'm convinced that none of my days will feel any different. So
Yeah.
I'm resigned to this is a great day.
There you go.
Lots of work. It's funny, right? As our brand grows, there is less time to breathe,
Mm-hmm.
That is true.
and I mean that in the best way. But sometimes it's daunting.
Yeah. You can see how it would get that way. Jason Walkie said an ultraviolet ultramarine.
He's pink.
Pink.
He's pink. Shelby wanted a pink Space Marine.
I wanted
She just wanted you to paint pink.
I wanted you to paint pink.
I don't think she cared what it was.
You chose a Space Marine. I achieved all of my goals for this month, which was to get Jason to paint pink and to get you to paint pink.
I did my part.
I'm doing my part right now. I don't remember who convinced me to do non-metallic metal. That I don't remember.
I think it was Ghost Hunter.
That sounds right.
I think he kept on mentioning it, and you were like, you know, that sounds pretty cool.
Oh, I remember what happened. Jason
I
pulled up.
turned the yellow pink on
Oh,
the stream
yeah.
yesterday.
Yeah, and it got me.
I
It
would
got
still
me
give
good.
some credit to Ghost Hunter, though, because he was mentioning it, and then Jason was like, we can do that. And he changed it, and then you were like, ooh.
No.
It was a joint
Somebody
effort.
said that model would look good painted pink, and BabyJ was like, "No way, this model look horrible painted pink," and I turned it pink.
I feel like
That's
it's
exactly
happened,
how that
I
went.
feel like it's happened a couple of times, though.
Are we in a Starship Troopers prop ad? Everyone is doing. I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part
Everyone's
too.
doing their part.
Have you even seen that movie, Shelby?
No. This is the second time today you've asked me if I've seen a movie that I haven't seen.
It's true. To be fair, the
That's
first
right. Jordan
one,
hadn't seen any movies either.
I've seen plenty of movies, just not the ones that you always ask about.
Jordan's a weeb. The only movies he's ever seen are anime.
That's not true.
It's so mean.
That's not
He's-
true at all.
He's a man of culture.
I'm a man of culture. You know what, Shelby? Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's very kind of you to say.
I mean, if you think hentai is culture, then
Whoa!
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 Jason!
That's drawing a line in the sand, my friend.
I will say, he asked me earlier if I had seen a movie. He made a reference, and he's like, have you seen the movie? and I didn't know what he was referring to, and he was like, it has Tom Cruise in it. And I genuinely don't think I've ever seen a single movie with Tom Cruise in it.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
With Tom Cruise in it?
Yeah, genuinely.
That's actually hilarious.
I don't think there's any I've seen. I know he's in a lot, I just haven't seen them.
He is in a lot of good films.
Yeah. I haven't watched any of them.
That one where he was a hitman with Jamie Foxx was a pretty good flick.
Oh gosh, what's that called?
It wasn't The Professional, but it was something like that.
No, yeah. Yeah, they're riding around in a cab in New York all night or something.
Yeah. Collateral.
Collateral.
Yeah, Collateral.
Yeah, haven't seen
It was
that
pretty
one.
good. Have you seen any films with Kevin Bacon in them?
I
Tremors. It's her favorite movie. She talks about it all the time.
Also a movie she's never seen.
Here's the other thing. I don't know celebrities very well. So I know the name Kevin Bacon, but I can't put a face to it.
Mr. Mark West, which one? Collateral? Collateral was a good flick. I was surprised. I don't know that I was surprised. I went in probably with no expectations on it, but it was a really good flick. Paint Liquor says, don't go knocking Ghibli fuse. Why would I knock Studio Ghibli? They make good movies.
Great movies.
They do.
Best Tom Cruise role, Tropic Thunder. It is amazing, by the way.
You know, that is a movie I also haven't seen.
It's amazing. Yeah, Collateral had a great soundtrack. I think that's what it is. It's so visceral because it has a great soundtrack. I'm a sucker for, like, Michael Mann flicks with, you know, like Heat was a Mann flick, I think, right? Great soundtrack. You know, the stories don't even have to be like 100%. The movie carries it. Yeah, made by Mann. Paint Liquor, anime movies. I didn't knock anime movies at any time. I just said that if it's not an anime movie, BabyJ hasn't seen it.
That which is not true.
Like saying I've not seen the Fourth Protocol.
Spitfire had a question. That when I use my airbrush, the paint comes out with little circular paint spots instead of a smooth, even coating. I've tried changing my PSI and adding more thinner, and I'm not sure how to fix it.
Little circular paint spots instead of a smooth, even coating. You've tried changing the PSI and adding more thinner. You're not sure how to fix it. Do you mean it's spotting? Like it's giving a speckled texture? Is it giving complete coverage with a speckled texture? Or are you seeing dots when you spray? Yes. Give me more detail. It's giving very wet speckles. Yeah, your tip is either bent or mismatched with the nozzle, or the nozzle's clogged. And is this a new one or an old one? I know we had somebody in Discord recently having problems with their airbrush and speckled painting and stuff. And probably the fourth time you've used it. Did it ever spray correctly?
I wonder if you're getting like chunks of paint drying on the tip of your needle.
The is even direct from the factory, depending on, is it one of our airbrushes? Is it, what airbrush is it? Not mismatched, you don't think? You bought the Monument airbrush, you never bought any other kind? Yeah, so it would be the this is the first time it's been messed up. So it's worked and now it doesn't, is what you're saying, right?
Capri Sun. Enjoyed that.
Mark West, that's awesome. Yeah, so if it's worked and now it's not, then you have a cleaning issue or a mechanical issue with bent needle, right? So spotting can come from quite a few different things. I'm taking this one apart to show you. I don't know which. If you have the TG or XG, it doesn't matter. They're both the same as far as that's concerned. Typically, what's happening is that paint is not being able to flow around the circumference of the needle very well, right? So if we get kind of punched in here, let me see if I can do a tighter punch than this. I think
You can go
it's
full
this
screen
one,
too
maybe?
if you
There
need
we
it.
go. So on the way that an airbrush works, just in overall, going back again, right? When I pull the trigger back, it pulls the needle, and what happens is that the airflow is happening around the outside of the nozzle. See this little spot? You can, if I hold it right, you can see little holes up inside the ring, the dark ring around the nozzle. That's where the airflow is. The air comes around the nozzle, right, and travels along the cone of the nozzle and the needle. And as you pull the needle back, it allows more of the nozzle's hole to open up, right? And that hole in the nozzle, once the needle is pulled all the way back, allows a little bit of droplet of paint to hang there, and then the airflow going around the outside of the nozzle suctions that paint out, right? So there's no airflow in the cup or anything like that. The air goes around the nozzle and then, you know, sucks the paint out of the nozzle based on, and how much is based on how far back the needle is pulled. If the nozzle is clogged or the needle is bent, right, then the paint as it comes out of the nozzle around the needle might have like more paint at one side than the other because of the bend or the paint clogging. And so that then will cause a flutter because the paint has to be even all around the circumference of that needle and the opening of the nozzle in order for paint to be smooth on it being sprayed. So if it's clogged, it'll keep paint from coming out of one section, and then you only have paint on the other side, and then that causes turbulence from the air. The air is going to grab it and try to wrap it around the needle, and it causes flutter, and it causes spotting. So it's 99.9 times it's going to be something that has to do with cleaning. And even if you've only used the airbrush 2 or 3 times or 4 times, if you let paint sit in it, if you sprayed a whole lot of paint and didn't give it a good cleaning, just rinsed it with water, and maybe you let the water, a lot of times what will happen is you'll rinse with the water, spray it out, it'll look like it's clean, and then you'll set it in the airbrush holder like this, and the rest of the moisture in the brush will grab the remaining paint, and it'll wind up settling in the nozzle overnight, and it'll build a ring of dried paint around where the needle sits inside the nozzle. So even though you're dragging the needle back, there's still paint around the inside there. So it's never really getting to be able to spray openly. So in order to handle that, you generally need to take your nozzle off, right? So yank the needle out. Grab your ranch.
Only tartar sauce.
Right. Oh, or tartar sauce. If you don't like ranch. So grab your ranch. Take the nozzle off, right? And then generally what I do, and it's because we have so many older airbrush parts laying around, is I'll take an older airbrush needle, right? But if you don't have access to an older needle, just get one of the cleaning sets, right, that is magnetized to 50 million magnets over here, right? Get one of the airbrush cleaning type sets. Oh, good God, this one's like destroyed. What the hell has happened here?
It's been used a lot.
Holy.
That was like a really old one when I got here.
Jack-a-mole, dude.
Wait, will you
Here,
show
there's
us
a
on
new one
the...
right, there's like a brand new one on it. Great.
There's 2. You have all of them. Jordan hoards and steals all the stuff in the studio.
I do. That's not inaccurate.
So then when you have this, you're just going to want to get the pipe cleaner kind of thing, and you'll put it up in there. You don't want to push it so hard that you might have it come out the end, because it'll flare the tip, and that causes problems too. If the tip's too wide and the needle never closes it up, then when you press the button, you'll get paint without pulling the trigger back. Take that in there, and then I just rotate it along on there. Don't really jam the cleaning tool. Twist the nozzle. That'll keep you from putting too much pressure inside there. But the really good thing to do is, if you trust yourself, I'm going to do this the way that you should do as I say, not as I do, children. Uncle Fuse makes some ludicrous statements, and you should not do these things. But I'm about to show you.
Some of the things he says.
It's like when I say
do.
cut away from your thumb with the knife,
Yeah.
as I'm cutting towards my thumb with a knife. If you take the needle itself, you should have an old one, right? After you've bent a few, this will happen. Right, but take the needle, and what I'm doing is I'm placing the needle into the nozzle, and instead of trying to line it up to come straight out the nozzle as it would normally do, I'm using it at kind of a slight angle and letting it kind of scrape the inside of the nozzle, right? So, here, let me grab my old one so I can show you.
Paint Liquor said, I see Fuse do, I do.
This is actually a little bitty micro file, right? You just kind of get it in there. and loosen up the gritty paint stuff that's at the edge. This one's looks fairly clean, but even there you can see a little bit of that paint grit that came out. See that? That little spot? This is a clean nozzle, but if I go in and I just lightly rub the needle on the inside edge of the nozzle enough, I can even get, you know, dirty crap coming out of it like that. It doesn't take a whole lot to clog that up. Now mine's not clogged, right? Jordan steals all the stuff, but he also keeps the airbrush pretty clean.
Yay! He said something nice. Woo!
Right.
Winning.
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 Right.
We are victorious.
But so make sure the nozzle is clean. If you're uncomfortable doing the things I've talked about, put it in some airbrush cleaner or soapy water, drop it in there overnight, let it soak, and then come back with the cleaning tools, and you'll be able to get the gunk out of there more easily. The other thing to be aware of is this piece. Notice how there's paint that builds up. Oh, this is the end cap, right? So the needle protrudes out of here, and notice how the paint will gunk up out of that because there's always a little bit of turbulence at the nose of the airbrush. And so with that being a little gunked, you're going to want to make sure you always keep this clean, nice and shiny, right? You can just take a paper towel and get that paint off there. It won't stick to the chrome very well. And it shouldn't be a lot of paint, right? So keep that clean on the flat surface around the hole. And always go in and make sure that the hole is actually round. So again, I just have this little micro file, jeweler's file, and I just put it in there real quick, right? You don't want to use a file necessarily. Like, again, do as I say, not as I do. You want to put a point, preferably not your needle, but get it in there and just kind of move it around to make sure that that opening is round. Because anything that makes the whole airflow not happen in this circular pattern is going to cause sputtering and spotting, period. So make sure you have that stuff cleaned out. Also, always check the back of this. This should never really have paint in it. Right? It should just be that brass end there. If it winds up having paint in here, then you need to make sure you clean all that out too. It can happen if you don't tighten this properly before or after a session and you spray paint. Paint could flutter on the back because of turbulence and load up the back end, but it should not be that way. Then just put it all back together and should work great. That kind of maintenance is just stuff you have to grow used to, and make sure that every so often you take the time to take the nozzle off when you're tightening it back up. Just get it to where it starts giving resistance, and then give it just a fraction, not even a quarter turn. Don't try to snug that thing up more than just like that. Right, then put the housing back on. Make sure that's tight. Nozzle cap on. Zoinks. Needle in. Make sure it comes all the way out, which it is. Boom. Should have. Good action again. Done deal. This will spray like a champ.
I know so much about airbrushes now.
You're welcome.
Learned a lot.
You should never take your needle out through the front of the airbrush because you're grabbing the tip to make that happen. Some people say it keeps you from knocking the tip around as you pull it out the back, but the whole channel that you're pulling the needle through is pretty tight to the needle, so that shouldn't be a problem for you. Just what's going on.
Yeah, don't be a savage when you.
Yeah, and Tim sprays a ton, and if you clean it after every use, like I just showed you, then you'll have way fewer issues with it. Yeah, I squeezy bottle and clean it out every time, and then I only do that kind of maintenance when it starts giving me sputtering and stuff, but it's always good to.
Yeah, we haven't been using the airbrush as much. Normally, if we're doing it we're using it on like a daily basis, I say we'll probably clean it once a week. Just to make sure that it's operating nice. Yeah, one of the best things you ever did was fully tear apart and reassemble your airbrush. Yeah.
Rod, if you've got an ultrasonic cleaner, then an ultrasonic works great, but I don't recommend them long term because ultrasonic cleaners have a tendency to loosen the chrome over time, believe it or not. They're not made for really doing that. It's like putting chrome in a rock tumbler, same thing. You shouldn't be doing that. The kind of chrome that is used to give the surface chroming on things like airbrushes these days is not the same chrome that was made decades ago. The EPA and quality standards all over the planet have made it to where chrome is not easy to do, and it isn't good quality anywhere, unless you take it to Mexico, where they still believe in harsh chemicals. But yeah, the chrome, if you put it in an ultrasonic, you might wind up with the chrome thinning out, and believe it or not, and then over time the chrome can chip off and cause problems too. So just be careful. You find airbrush cleanup oddly cathartic?
I think we're doing some green lenses.
Game delay, that's one of the best things you can do. Take your airbrush apart, put it back together, understand the parts and what they do. There's not a lot of, it's a very simple machine, but to the layperson it can seem very daunting. The first time you take it apart, put all the springs and levers and everything back together, even take the valve off of the stem, the hose portion, right? So even taking the valve assembly out of here is always a good thing to do. Just get used to the way the machine works, right? If you can make that happen and understand all the parts, then anytime you have a problem, you can troubleshoot it a lot easier. The valve here is usually not the issue. Sometimes top trigger airbrushes like this will have an issue. If you backflow your airbrush a lot, you'll see painters put their finger on here and pull the trigger back while they have paint in the cup or when they're cleaning, and you'll see bubbles in the cup because it's forcing all the air is coming out around the needle and immediately being forced back into the channel where the needle is. And some people use it as a way to mix paint. Some people do it when cleaning. That is a worse thing to do than pulling your needle out the back. Like Tim was saying, he doesn't want to draw paint back that way, but you shouldn't have a whole lot of paint on the needle if you've cleaned it and to pull it back. But doing this will force air and paint past the bushings, right? The seals. And then you'll wind up with paint getting back into the trigger housing, and that can then eventually seep down into the valve, and the valve can stick, right? So it's a spring-loaded valve in these things so that when you push the trigger down, that valve opens and closes, right? And so if you get paint, even water with just a very little bit of paint back in here, or just heavy water like in Arizona where it has a lot of mineral content, it'll wind up calcifying down there, and you wind up with a spring sticking, and that could be sometimes while you're pressing and no air is happening, or because it's not actually actuating the valve. So be careful, and I always recommend never doing this. I still do it from time to time when I'm cleaning, but only briefly. Yeah, Moo, ultrasonics are not the best thing in the world for airbrushes. You can also get paint splatter on your clothes. Definitely the reason to not do that, Paint Licker. I am definitely worried about your fashion. You should always paint in the proper designated clothing.
Mm-hmm.
Shelby knows all about that.
Jason never gets paint on himself.
I get paint all over the damn place.
That's
why I wear work shirts as my ensemble.
Yep.
Red Cap
Jordan,
or
you're out of
Dickies
frame.
work shirts till the end of time. Because a little paint just makes it look like you actually work. When you stop backflowing your airbrush, you stop having a lot of problems. Yeah, and that is true. You'll cause yourself more problems than it's worth to backflow. Spend the extra time going ahead and spraying through and using the cleaning kit and clean it the right way. If you use it to mix your paint, even worse, because now you have full-bodied paint in the airbrush and you're busting that back through the seals. So unless you're breaking your airbrush down completely every time, I don't suggest it. Now I know people that do that in like t-shirt painting and things like that, and airbrush painting for like gas tanks and cars, and they backflow a lot just because they're old hats and they mix that way and they'll put paint and clearer and all of the mediums in it, and they'll use that backflow to mix it and then spray it. But they literally break the machine down and soak it in like, kerosene overnight. So
Arctic Mini said, "I paint in the nude."
Thank you.
I feel like that's probably the right way to do it. I cook bacon nude. I like living on the edge.
Didn't need to know that.
I like living on the edge. Dancing around the grease splatters.
No. Oh my gosh. God, can you imagine? That sounds awful.
Just said, "Ouch."
Oh my god.
I didn't want to think about that.
So my roommate in college and I, every Sunday we made breakfast. It was just our thing, right? And it was like a religion for us. We would have to, whether or not there were other people or not, both of us would have to be home on Sunday morning to make breakfast. And because he grew up having Sunday morning breakfast with his family, and so did I with my grandparents. And so we would always have like bacon and eggs, sausage and eggs, whatever. And one morning I'm like sleeping late, and I'm hearing, oh God! And I wake up, and he's cooking bacon in his underwear. You know, he was so serious about that breakfast, and he was spattering all over him. He's just out there freaking out.
That's so funny.
Mike was my hero. If you've ever watched the old Pink Panther movies, he and I were like the Inspector Clouseau and whatever his fake Asian kung fu sidekick's name was. And either he or I would come home after work, and you'd never be thinking about it, and he'd whack you with a broomstick or something as you walked in the door. Like, you're always supposed to pay attention.
This sounds like
Kato game really.
This sounds like a place that I've lived before. I lived there with a few people, and it was wild.
Barney Simo, what's going on?
Hierarchy is.
Thank you for that follow. Fire got a texture trainer. Yep, I'm gonna do some painting on this right now. I am going to do a study on this. We're gonna paint the entire thing in grayscale.
Woohoo!
And then we're going to show you some stuff with glazes.
Woo!
So how about them apples? I figured that might be a nice journey for chat.
That is super fun.
Shelby's like, tell me more.
I love it.
So we're going to do a very in-depth, non-airbrush way of doing underpainting for value as a way to study textures in black and white. We've done it before on smaller models, but I think that's one of the things that this model really shines at. Our texture trainers are really built for this, is to show you ways to implement your painting style in new and expanded territory.
God, every time they roll that thing around, I think that something bad is happening.
I mean, it's just a cart with wheels. Dude.
No, but when it first
I bet
happens,
the grocery store gives you like PTSD or something.
No.
Dude, I went to the grocery store the other day, and as I'm going through the grocery store, I got the one cart. I got that cart.
That cart? I know exactly.
Well, I
what
didn't
you're
get that
talking
cart because that cart I always thought was the cart that had the wheels stuck. So that's what I look for. I roll it, and I say, okay, the wheels work. And then I get going, and about enough paces away from the cart corral that I didn't want to turn around and go back. It was like, if you're wearing headphones, I apologize. It was like, and so I just rode with it. I owned it. I went through the grocery store that entire shopping experience.
Oh my goodness. Jason seal mode engaged.
I can't tell if it's a seal or if it's a donkey, but either way, I like it.
I think it's a combination of the two.
It was the cart at the grocery store. Thank you very much.
Jaggedy Snakes, thank you for the follow.
I owned it. People were looking at me like, you idiot. You could have got another cart. I was like, look, milk. I got like 6 things.
That's what's so frustrating, though, is people give you dirty looks. It's like,
oh, yeah.
It's not my fault.
Oh, yeah, everybody was just
I didn't buy a cart.
They were MFing me with their eyes as I was like, good God, man, I come to the grocery store to be sane. And you're ruining my moment. And I was just owning it.
That's nearly grounds to travel everywhere with a mini WD-40 can.
It's true.
Somebody should have just walked up, because they sell WD-40 at the grocery store, and just like walked up to you and been like, stop. And then sprayed on the wheels.
Moose is like, I thought, oh my God, Inspector Clouseau, I thought you said your dog didn't bite. That's not my dog. Oh, I love the Pink Panther. I grew up with those movies. They were so hilarious. Peter Sellers.
Hello, JP Gray. And Slayer Street.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome. Jordan's painting pink again.
I'll be so happy about
Jason's
it.
painting.
You don't think you've seen a model laid down like that before, Mark West? What do you mean? In grayscale first? The Pinkies Out artiste will call it grayscale. I don't care what you call it. It doesn't need a name. It's called underpainting. value sketching. Vertical versus horizontal.
It's the coin.
Oh, like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, our texture trainers, I designed these, and we have them sculpted by William Sang, and the idea of them is to present you with a bust that is less daunting than a normal bust, right? Because if you buy a bust, you're painting a big model, and it has a lot going on. It has good textures. They have wonderful busts out there, but there's a lot to it, and you've got to do the full 360, put it all together, and it can be a model that a lot of people just let sit on a shelf because they're afraid to quote unquote mess it up, right? And so we made these. They're $20 retail on our site. 3D printed resin here, all designed by us. And they're made to paint and repaint and paint again. I mean, I've got the box art one here that we painted live on stream, right? And they're just a great way to do studies in texture. I've got leather, metal, cloth, hair, skin, stone on this one, so that you can go through and practice new ways and techniques. Maybe you want to try non-metallic metal. Maybe you want to do your metallics way. Maybe you want to try different colors of hair. Maybe you want to try a new color of skin tones using different workup that you've done before. All sorts of stuff. And now we've given you a model that at a very reasonable budget can allow you to do exactly what I'm doing here, which I had painted like skin on this one, and now we're painting over it and starting again to test something new. So you'll see us paint these a lot on here. Mm-hmm. It's a bust that's less busty. Yes.
True.
Yeah, I'm excited for the new ones too.
Oh man. That
so
one that I
cool.
can't talk
So
about.
cool.
It's so cool. Sorry, chat.
The new one?
Yeah.
Oh, she's great, isn't she?
I'm so excited about it. Got all the weird bits of texture that I'm always excited to paint.
Yeah, we got some really good ones coming out. I'm excited for all of them.
Me too.
Mm-hmm. Bustiest. What's your guys' favorite paint technique? You have a favorite paint technique?
The favorite paint technique?
Yeah, like underglazing, or like what's the most fun for you?
That's a great question. This is one of those where I think I use the get out of jail free pass of because I've been painting for so long. I use all of them kind of intermixed so much that I don't think about painting techniques in terms of what I'm going to use on a model. I typically use so many. I think that one of my favorite ways to paint, especially live on stream, is like this, like underpainting and value sketching, and then glazing for color. Mm-hmm. Because when you do that, it creates a lot of light bulbs in the audience for people to think of things they could do along with it. So from an instructional perspective, it's a lot of fun to watch color evolve over the top of other color through glazes and things like that. But also wet blending is amazing.
I do a lot of that.
Pretty much all of them. I mean, it really, because as an artist, you're really going for, hey, that final product is really, what you're shooting for. And I think it's the combo of techniques that you use along the way to achieve the result that makes me the happiest. And so I would come back and say that it's not any one, but it's putting them together in the right puzzle order to get to the finish line. Because that finish line is always different for me. This will be very different than what we've painted recently on the lion, and next model we'll do it in a different way. That's kind of how I attack it.
Let me rephrase and reapproach the question from a different angle. What are things that you would say are a hallmark of your preferences when it comes to painting?
Me?
Yeah.
A hallmark.
Like things that you would identify as very
I do all the time?
typically Jason things to do.
I like a lot of texture, so I'm very sketchy with my paint along the way. Stippling, broad brushstrokes, fast brushstrokes to gain texture, so a lot of that. I don't know. People have tried to ask me, what is my style? How do I find myself painting? And again, I use the cop-out of every model's different. I literally just look at it from a perspective of, what I see this moment leads me to what I do in the next moment.
Yeah. I mean, we all definitely have our own tendencies, right?
Well, I know people that paint the exact same way every time they paint a model.
Yeah.
And I think that's perfectly fine. I get bored with that real quick. So a lot of times I find myself wanting to attack a model in a particular way that I haven't done in a while.
Mhm.
So maybe it's dry brushing.
Yeah.
You know, when we just did the bear, right?
Tiny.
Right? And doing Heine, it was one of those where it was like, I just want to get this done quick, right? So there's a lot of dry brushing here. And I didn't have to spend a whole lot of time on the fur. You know, it's washes and dry brushing. So, you know, using quick things and then doing my, you know, my time on the gold chain and stuff still gives you good detail.
Mhm.
So sometimes it's stepping outside of what you're comfortable with. I mean, we kind of did that on the Hulk. We wanted the Hulk painted
Well,
fast,
huzzah,
but, you know, we
huzzah.
also wanted it to look
Throw
good.
back my legs
And
so I did a bunch of
pollute
really
my
good
britches with
sketchy
delight.
work up with glazes and underpainting and kind of a throwback to all of them. I mean, I think the pants took us 15 minutes, you know? So it was really just layering up colors and choosing to jump up in value quicker. So every part of the model is done a little bit differently in that regard. But the end game gives us what we wanted. And so again, I don't know. I don't know.
JP,
My
thank you
style
for
is
the
all over
sub.
the place. It's kind of like grandma's quilt, I think, is the best way to put it.
Yeah. Source had a question up here. When would you glaze and when would you use flesh wash instead when painting skin?
They can be used kind of independent of one another and also very similarly. Flesh wash I tend to use kind of in the middle of painting skin, right? So do a base layer, do your initial highlight or two, then do a flesh wash, and then come back over the top of the flesh wash and glaze in your midtone and highlight again, is a process that I use a lot. You'll see BabyJ doing that kind of stuff where we come in and we do filters kind of in the middle.
Yeah.
And then go back and use glazing as a way to add value back to what you knock down with the wash, because the wash will obviously, no matter what color you use, it'll darken up your base layers that you put it over the top of. And so, you know, when we use that kind of a style, you're basically wanting to glaze to get your color back in. Otherwise, you overdo the color and it defeats the purpose of doing the wash.
Mhm.
So you can do both. But if you're choosing to do one or the other, sometimes that can be as simple of how much detail do you want on the model, right? Are you trying to do a model that looks spectacular because you may not use any washes? You may choose, because of the way you typically view or use washes in your own work, you may choose to not do that and just use glazes. You know, I've shown we use washes and glazes on like the lion's armor recently. I used black wash and then I also glazed with transparent black. You know, to achieve the armor on the lion. So it's a combo of both. And so skin is no different from anything else on the model, right? It's just the colors you use are different and you may texture it differently. But, you know, so the same way I would do armor and skin and everything, it really doesn't matter. I'll use combos. You know, I might go and do on non-metallic, I might use a wash to darken up crevices and then go back and glaze over the top of a wash. They're both unique tools that can exist on their own, but do really, really well when you use them together.
Ghoul Seth's, the base set should be in stock by today.
Yeah, by end of day today,
By
if
the end
not
of the day.
already.
Today.
We're making golden yellow and dark umber were the two colors in the base set that were out of stock, and the production's doing those today, if they haven't already finished.
Yeah, last time I looked, we were just waiting on golden yellow.
Yeah, so it should be back in stock today.
Very excited for this evening.
You have a hot date?
Yeah, with the computer.
I was really excited for a moment when you said yeah.
Shelby, trust me, you would have known already.
That's true.
He's on an antisocial date with his new ARPG.
Well, sort of not antisocial.
Oh, it's
I-
antisocial.
Well, I'll be hanging out and chatting with all my buddies from Seattle.
Who are also antisocial.
Some of them certainly are. To be honest with you, that's not an inaccurate approximation of them.
I'm in the midst of like really hoping that my nephew doesn't fall victim to the modernization of social gatherings being all on the internet, and so I'm in that mode of, I jumped on Gabe the other day because he's like, I love playing multiplayer games, and then went on to describe a non-multiplayer experience.
Yes.
Get out.
It's like we're playing a single player game together.
Yeah, exactly. We're all on Discord.
But for me, that fulfills a lot of that,
Yeah, no, it's perfectly cool.
Because I do the same thing a lot. Not to get Gabe out of his hidey hole of getting.
Well, you don't have. Gabe's a social butterfly.
Yeah, you don't have to try very hard to get him.
That group.
Game Delay said, if you're being antisocial together, does that break things?
Yeah, it's like crossing the streams. we don't like to talk about that.
Yeah, the worst one is when everybody's in Discord and not saying anything. That's when everybody needs to leave Discord and go do other things.
Yeah, if y'all are just like sitting there with each other, it's like, okay, what are we doing? Mark West, you're living in AZ now. We're in AZ.
That's where we're at.
It's nice and warm.
Ugh, nice. Right
Yeah,
now, it's
I'm with Shelby on this
right
one.
now
Like,
it's nice.
I really wish we could have a little bit more winter. It
yeah,
does not bode well for how summer's going to be.
yeah.
We're already at like 80 degrees.
It's
I mean, this was like this
preposterous.
last year. Because I remember when I came to visit in January, it was like high 70s.
But it was still very
75
cold
was.
at night.
Yes. It's still pretty cool at night these days. It was 65 when I rolled out of my apartment complex this morning.
That's not cold. I
Isn't
want
it?
40. I want 40.
Jason's like, I want 40.
I want 40 in the morning.
Game Delay, it's nice now. Like, the weather is still at a bearable temperature, but it's gonna get pretty rough really fast, I think.
I gotta prep for spending a ridiculous amount on
AC.
Stupid AC.
Your electric bill's about to go through the roof.
Yeah, and then in the summer it doubles basically. It sucks.
Yeah. See, JP Gray, I would rather it be snowing. I guess
You say that now.
You've
say
never
it now.
lived in that
I've never
environment,
lived in
so
it, but I
careful.
like
Yeah,
the
so you say
temperature
that
of
now.
the snow.
Yeah, careful what you wish for.
I get it. I do have to scrape ice off of my car sometimes.
I did not have to do that this year, and it was glorious.
Yeah, I did do it probably like,
Gotta love living in a
I
car.
don't know.
car
Yeah, you got the
yeah.
carport over the
so
parking
good.
lot.
Okay.
Sounds nice.
You know what though? I hate that. I hate when people say, "No, you don't want to do that. You don't want to live in a cold place." I do want to live in a cold place.
No, you don't.
I wish.
would say,
I wish I could live somewhere where
Nobody
it's
that
snowy.
lives in the cold place likes living in the cold place.
Yeah, that's true.
Nobody.
I don't
They
know.
will tell you they do.
Well,
but they
yeah, but
Take it from me.
people always. That's what people always say. They're like, "Oh, you don't want to live there." Like I lived there and I hated it. Well, I'm a different person.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
No, no, you're not.
No, you're not.
You
Okay,
are not.
Okay, little butterfly. Trust me, your first blizzard, you'll be like going back to Arizona.
No, because that to me, like,
No, it won't be the first one. It'll be like
The issue is
second
that
or
there are
third.
places that are very cold that have really neat things to do when you live there, and that I totally agree with. I'm more of, like I've lived where it's very cold, I've lived where it's very hot, and I tend to overall enjoy the hot places better because it's easier to enjoy the heat as long as you have electric and air conditioning than the cold. But being in places where it's cold and being able to like have a fireplace is really bitching.
Fireplaces are a pain in the butt, though.
Oh, they're a super pain in the butt. I don't want to own one, but I just want to
hate
have my
heat.
friends be able to use theirs. So
Yeah. Get
That's why I
used
say
by
live
friends.
here, be able to turn the AC on and off, and go visit your friends that live in cold places.
Yep.
Because you do not want to be stuck in a blizzard, no power.
There are worse things.
Well, says the person that hasn't been stuck. You get real tired of being cold.
There are ways to do it. I think I would enjoy it, but it's fine if you guys don't think I would.
It's fine if you guys don't think I would.
JP Gray, you don't know my experiences. You don't know my life. Maybe I have slept in
I
a
feel
tent
like
where it's
Gabe would be
negative
one of
10.
those people that would enjoy living in cold places too.
No.
Hi. What? I would enjoy living.
There you go.
Nope. Well, Gabe just would. He's Gabe.
He's gay. What is that supposed to mean?
He's just positive. He's not gonna like it wherever he is. He's gonna make the best of it. Gabe is a good influence.
That I will agree with. Gabe will make it work.
I think my thing is that I disdain the heat so much that I don't think there's any way I could hate cold more than heat. Because it sucks the life out of me when it's as hot as it gets. And I don't think the cold would suck the life out of me.
You'd be surprised.
Okay.
You'd be surprised. I'm just saying.
She's at that age, Jordan. You can't tell her anything. She's gonna have to experience it on her own. Have you ever shivered to the point you don't have energy? Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I love getting in my car and having uncontrollable shivers.
Thank you, Awkwardish Panda.
Like literally, I have to wait for the car to heat up before I can literally function. Like I literally cannot drive the car because I'm doing this. Like.
Okay, but there are ways to not be doing that.
Yeah, but they're literally unavoidable in a lot of cases.
Well, so is the heat.
No, it's not.
You realize, Jordan, you can't argue with her, right?
Yeah, you see.
It's not okay. Turn on the heat. In the winter, turn on the heat.
Yeah, it takes time to do that.
Takes time for the AC.
AC is just on all the time.
I mean, I'm talking about getting into your car.
Yeah, but I can get into my car when it's 130, 140 degrees inside my car. Go ow, my steering wheel hurts for 5 seconds, and then start driving my car. I don't have to get in my car and then wait 20 minutes before I can go anywhere.
See, Flansterus gets me.
Also, scraping snow off the top of your car sucks.
Oh yeah, it does.
Can't be that bad.
It's not great.
How is it terrible?
It's just.
I
way
think
more
I'm just more
inconvenient.
positive about the whole thing.
Look, I love cold weather. Okay, I love snow. It's beautiful.
Doesn't
It's
sound like
gorgeous.
it.
It's absolutely wonderful. Screw living around it.
It's a great place to vacation.
Yeah, it's a fantastic place to vacation.
Yeah.
When you don't get stuck in a.
Anybody
snow.
that tells you that they
Thank
wouldn't
you,
prefer
Source.
to live in and I don't mean Arizona as a particular place, but Arizona's winter. Anybody that you meet that has experienced something like Arizona's winter who says, nah, I'll take summer or I'll take, a blizzard winter over it, they're lying to you.
I like our summers.
Oh, it's great. No, I'm talking about winter. You can like it all you want, but you would rather have our winters year round. That moderate.
Honestly, I want something in between. What was it? November? October, November? Probably closer to November. Early November. It was perfect.
So that's called winter, which is what I just said.
Well, no, winter is when it's 40 degrees outside during the day.
Oh my God. When have you ever had 40 degrees outside during the day here? It hasn't happened once since you've been here. Not once.
Okay, well,
Not midday, for
this,
sure.
This might have been a little hyperbolic on my
Not once, dude.
but it's been sub 50s.
Not during the day.
Probably a couple of days.
I can think of a couple of days.
Get
where
the
we're really
Farmer's
freaking
Almanac. I beg to differ.
Get the Farmer's
I'm
Almanac.
You
I'm
wake
not
up,
doing that.
You wake up here and it's 40 something. Ask Jen. She knows all this stuff. It's 40 something in the morning. Maybe I've seen a couple of days since I've lived here for the 9 years I've been here that we're in the 30s. That's a rarity.
Okay, it also depends on the area, because it gets way colder up where I live than it does down here.
Yeah, well,
Like, I've woken up some mornings and it's been like 29 degrees.
To be fair, my point of reference is literally right here.
yeah. Which is, it's
Yeah.
always 56 by
It's-
9 a.m.
It's warmer down here, because where my house is, it's like right in, it's like in a pocket where mountains are, so all the cold air just settles,
Yeah.
and it gets a little bit colder than other areas. FireArk asked, how did you make the glaze you were using?
Me?
Jason.
I'm not gonna, I mean, water on my brush? It's just water on my brush and dark neutral gray. It's not really a glaze. I'm base coating for all intent and purpose, right? I'm cleaning my brush, rinsing it out, and then dipping it in the or wiping it on the paper towel twice. So it's a number 3 brush. So it's got an okay amount of water on it, so that the black and the gray do some sort of pseudo mixing visually on the model, but not so thin that I got to do it twice over each of these areas, right? This is a nice lazy base coat, so I don't want to have to spend a whole lot of time on it. But I do want it to integrate in with that black background and become a little bit darker than the natural color on its own. So not what I would call technical glazing. It's more of a thin base coat, if that makes sense. I talk about all the time the way that I only ever use the water on my brush to paint with. I don't mix anything. I use a glass palette here, and so I don't put anything on the paint on the palette other than the water on my brush. That way, my thinking is I always have the paint the way I know it is, fresh out of the bottle, to go back to. And I adjust from there with the water on my brush, which is the best way to paint. If you thin the paint on your palette, then you're always starting from something less than what the paint could be. And I don't want to limit myself that way. I want to always be able to get, full vibrancy, full color out of the paint. And so leave the droplet alone as much as you can and allow the water on your brush to create the thinness of paint you need for that particular brush stroke every time. And you'll catch me sometimes during the middle of painting, like say that cloak, taking my brush and wiping more paint off and then going back, because I'll notice I have too much material, and for the thing I'm about to do with my brush stroke, like right in there, maybe I want less. I'll hit it over here on my hand first and then go in there and maybe glaze an edge where it meets another color. Bad example because I'm not really doing that right now, but you get my drift.
Overrated said, what blending technique do you suggest beginners start with?
Just layering. And mixing, right? The easiest thing to do as a painter learning and starting out is to get used to using the value of the colors you want to perform a lot of the heavy lifting for you. It's what Jordan's doing right now, right? So Jordan's just mixing up colors and then putting brighter colors over darker colors and staging it as much as you want your detail to be. How soft do you want that blend to be? Mix more colors, do more layers, right? Because at some point in time, you're not really blending at all. You're painting one layer over the other. And whereas if you go from a dark color to a bright color, it looks like a candy corn. It doesn't look like there's any blending at all. Take that dark color and that bright color, start adding small amounts of the bright color to the dark color after you've done your base coat, and then paint that again. You can paint dark color and then that next color right up next to it. And as you do that more and more in those bands to get to your highlight, it doesn't look like a candy corn or clown suit or pinstripe suit anymore. It looks like a blend, right? Because those colors are so close to one another, they just kind of gradually get brighter because you just added in a little drop of bright paint every time you went to do the next layer.
The other thing that I'll do too is I'll go back and I'll adjust the colors with glazes afterwards if I want to.
Yeah, but he was saying beginner.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I forgot about that. But yes, doing what I'm doing, not right this second, but what I have been doing, is definitely a really easy starting point. And it'll get you really comfortable with mixing colors together, which is, I think, one of the most important things that you can learn as a painter.
You got it. There is so much you can do in painting models without ever blending at all. I could pull the Thanos model out.
Yeah, you
and
don't
show
need
you
smooth
what
color.
a purposefully zero blended model can be. This we did as a test to show people what you can do with absolutely no blending, just mixing colors. And you can see on this one, I've done very cartoony shapes, geometric shapes, instead of even worrying about, mixing a whole lot of color in between. There's not a single blended color on this model. No blends with my brush. They're literally all just painted nested colors. Think of like a Russian nesting doll, right? All I'm doing is going in and putting one color inside of the same shape and reducing that size of the shape each time. Right? That's it. But when you look at this model, you're like, oh my God, that's awesome. But it looks like it has blends because of the way you approach applying the colors, but there's no blends on it at all. So again, you can make a living off of painting without ever blending a color at all.
This model also has very little blending. It's a lot of just layering your colors up. A little bit of the glazing that I've done on top of it, but vast majority of this is just layering colors.
Shelby, calm down. Exactly. She's
I didn't say anything.
Exactly.
I said calm down.
Exactly.
Not calmed.
Shelby, I think your energy levels from the Capri Sun you've been partaking of are a little high. You got that Capri Sun energy right now. I'm gonna need you to tone it down just a bit.
Nope.
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 I'm good, thanks.
No.
I'll decline. Politely. You're bouncing off the walls, relax.
Mark West said, being new to minis, painting, and Warhammer, what events would you suggest going to? There's a US Open GW event in Washington, but I don't know if going to some other event would be better as a new to the hobby person.
Adepticon.
Yeah.
Is a very hobby-focused show. Nova Open is a very hobby-focused show. A lot of the other ones are more focused on the gaming aspect, so it really depends on what you're trying to get out of it. If anything that is like a 40K Open is going to be gaming only, right? They may have paint classes at some of them, but in general, hanging out with people and discussing hobby will be a sidebar at those events. So if you want to go, I suggest larger conventions, like I said, or even smaller regional conventions that are focused more on the hobby in general rather than a tournament, if that makes sense. A lot of them will have the tournament as just part of the draw. But I typically tell people that aren't going to compete in gameplay to stay away from things like event opens.
I think Adepticon, like you said, is probably the best option.
Oh, because Adepticon by far, if you can
both.
get to Chicago. It's coming up in March. It's a fantastic show.
And then
That show literally changed my life.
Iski Bay said, any recommendations for a good bright cold purple? I love the hue of dark purple, but want more brightness without moving it toward magenta.
Bright cold purple.
Generally, what you want to do is take something like dark purple and start adding blues into it. If you want a pre-mixed color, all of our purples start moving over into like royal purple. They are a little bit more red, except for like the plum and the faded plum can help. But again, they're gonna all lean a little red. You're gonna want to move into blues. So you can take like dark purple and you can start mixing in just normal blue into it, sky blue. Up to you at that point.
Yeah, like you said, dark purple, royal purple, something like that as a starting point, and just cooling it off a bunch.
Yeah, just go into the hue, just go into the blue hues as your mixer. Right? Sometimes it helps to think about the base of purple is red and blue, right? And so you're going to get heat by leaning into the red, cool by leaning into the blue. And that gives you all the mixing knowledge you need right there.
Here, I'll do a little bit of a little test because I have some royal purple on my palette right now that I can show you. So we take royal purple by itself. This is basically what you're getting right here. And then if you add a touch of blue to that royal purple, and this is not adding a lot, but you start cooling it off significantly, very quickly.
I see. Oh yeah, on your finger. Sorry.
Yeah. And then depending on how much you add, you'll shift a little bit more back towards royal purple. But you can tell just by adding that touch of blue, this feels really, really warm, cool, and then just slightly warmer. And then you can push it really far if you want to. You can get into almost that kind of lavendery territory by just adding more sky blue.
Hellfire said, "Is it normal for my airbrush to leak foam when I turn it on?"
Leak foam?
And then said, "That's good, right?"
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually, you got the best one.
I don't think that is good. Hi, Jade.
That's not what you're looking for, I don't think.
Shelby, are you questioning my advice?
What? Never.
Shelby would never do
Why
that.
would I do that?
She'd never do it. She's incapable of that kind of.
I don't ask questions.
Well, that's not true.
Wow, liar.
Yeah, I've definitely heard a question once upon a time or two.
Jordan, you did paint Grievous on stream.
I did indeed.
Songer is looking for a tan armor recipe.
What did I use for that? I mean, the VOD is up on YouTube if you want to see what I used exactly. But let me grab them real quick.
What model?
Grievous. So dark golden brown. Let me actually show the model really quick. So this is dark golden brown plus moving into khaki. And then it looks like I started with a little bit of dark ivory. No, not dark. Just regular ivory. These three colors will get you there. Now it's basically dark golden brown, and then dark golden brown plus khaki, and then khaki plus ivory, and then ivory is like the workup that you're gonna see here. Then you can see the darker color in the underside of his thigh there, underneath the shin. Yep. No problemo.
How awful was it to put him together?
Horrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah. MG, I love you. Dallas, you're great. This model, terrifying to put together. Not gonna lie. It holds up pretty good though.
Yeah, I'm surprised at how stable it is.
Did I tell you that I upended all the models out of my bag when I was at LVO? And it survived? Yeah. It didn't break.
Why would you do such a thing?
It was an accident. Why do we ever do anything? I definitely didn't do it on purpose, that's for sure.
I say, this is another one of those, hey, don't do that. Kind of like running into your bathtub.
Yeah. Yeah, my shin still hurts.
Don't do that.
This sounds all right.
Hellfire asked, when is Shelby going to paint?
Yeah, Shelby.
I don't
Paints
know.
from time to time.
I paint.
When are you gonna finish your
I paint every now and then. I think
challenge?
Hellfire means on stream, so I don't know. The answer is I don't know.
She can do it anytime. She's scared.
Whatever. We both know that's not true. I started with a display model.
She did. She picked up night bells and was like, I got this.
How's that model been
Hold
going,
my
by the
beer.
way?
I took a break from him to do the other things.
How's that other one coming along?
What, my cat? Great.
Mhm.
It's almost done, Jordan.
Is it gonna be done before the end of January?
Yes.
Hmm.
I still have a lot of time.
Do you?
Yes.
I'm not convinced. It's what, the 21st right now?
Uh-huh.
Are you gonna paint it tonight?
I have 8 days.
If you kids can't get along, I'm gonna
I
make you go out in the back
I have
and
8
wrestle.
days.
Well, remember her birthday's on Friday, so that's probably not gonna get any painting done.
Game Delay said, be a
She's
worse
off tomorrow.
Be a worse producer so they
Probably
make
not
you
gonna
paint, Shelby.
anything.
That's where they put the people who are bad at producing. They make them stand at the painting tables.
How are you off tomorrow? That's not your birthday.
No, I requested it off, and Jen said yes.
That
This-
jet is too easy on you.
Yep.
I have to send her to slave driver class. This is not working out.
Wow, nobody believes in me. Kyle, I don't want to hear it.
What did Kyle say?
He said she won't finish it. Can't believe all of you. I have like 8
Shelby, I have not
models.
said a thing.
I have
just wanna
8 models
go
and
on
I'm
the
itching to
record.
paint, and I have abstained because I want to finish this model. It's the
I have
worst.
not said a thing.
It's self-inflicted torture at this point.
Look, I'm not saying you're not going to get it done. I'm just saying I hope you get it done. And I'm gently, politely reminding you that there are not a whole lot of days left in the shortest month of the year.
I'll figure it out.
That leap day ain't gonna help you too much. I'm just letting you know.
It's a whole day.
It's a whole day.
She's turning 21, so she's going to get inebriated and forget that she even knows how to paint models, and then it's done. So
It's not gonna happen. You all are convinced I'm gonna get drunk, and it's just not happening.
Well, are your parents gonna be there?
Yeah.
her parents taking her to the bar.
Oh, you're screwed.
Well, the party's at my house. Paint Liquor said some
I
some
forgot
people
about
start
that.
crawling. Shelby starts in track and field with her models. What can I say? I liked night bells.
Shelby,
It's a good model.
I gotta hear about your trip to the fancy bar.
I will. I'll tell you all about it.
Shelby's going to a fancy bar.
Going to a fancy bar.
And when I say fancy bar, I mean fancy bar.
Fancy.
Like dress code fancy bar.
Panic bomb. I am not taking commissions right now, unfortunately.
Yeah,
I know,
Shelby, you
I
wanna
know
paint
how
my
sought
army
after
for me?
my art is.
How many Capra Suns is it gonna take for me to get my army painted
I
by
am
Shelby?
really going to kill you people if you keep saying that.
Okay, Capri Suns. It just sounds so much worse. Not that it's a great name of a thing to begin with. Sorry.
Chat. This is what we have to live with here.
Uh,
This is why we can't have nice things.
you brought me here.
Game delay. There will be no
you
Capri Suns
know.
at my fancy bar.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
No.
I think Gabe also, he mentioned a while ago, I don't know if this is still his plan, it could have changed, but he mentioned him and his wife wanting to take me to a nice bar too, so
Damn.
But
Seems legit.
who knows? How many Capri Suns for you to crochet me a frog hat? First I have to figure out how to crochet a frog hat. And
That
then I'll
can't be
get
that hard.
back to you. Oh really, Jordan? Why don't you try it?
No. Hold on. Let me clarify. That hard for you.
That would be pretty.
You are very
it'd be
talented.
pretty.
I can't imagine that it would be very difficult for you to do so.
Thank you for rephrasing your statement.
Well, it didn't necessarily require rephrasing. You just took it the wrong way. I'm just saying.
I literally am going to spank both of you.
All right.
I think that goes against some law
things.
somewhere.
The
Yeah.
poster in the kitchen.
Mechanized imposter. Thank you for the sub.
Ugh.
Well, huzzah, huzzah! I'll just throw back my legs and pollute my britches with delight.
What are you just using full titanium white and full black?
Huh?
Are you
Me?
just yeah?
No,
are you
this is
just
neutral
using-
gray.
Okay.
We make a color for that.
Yeah, you are right.
It's called neutral gray.
You know what? You're not wrong. Yep.
Go from dark neutral gray to neutral gray. Now we start. I'm just sketching in where I want my values to live. So, just kind of playing at the moment. Refine them as you go along.
Jade said, "Why am I sensing a get along shirt in the near future?"
These kids. Swear to God, children.
I'm not a kid. I'm an adult.
So, I'm gonna buy you a dictionary. Because that is not what that word means.
What? Adult?
Yeah.
What's the definition of a kid?
Pretty much you are the poster boy.
A baby goat.
Baby goat, true. Also true.
C. Jojo said, you mentioned repainting over the Warrior texture trainer. Is that usually by repriming, stripping the paint, or other methods?
I just reprimed right over the paint on this one that I'm doing. I'd only done her face and hair on this one, so it wasn't like a huge undertaking. So I just brush primed right over it, but you could just take the airbrush and reprime. I would say, as a rule of thumb, I would normally look at just repriming until I had done it so many times that I thought I was going to start clogging details. And then, switch over to something a little less obtrusive. You might, soak it and do all that. But I feel like as a tool, we wanted to price this thing at such a value that you wouldn't be afraid to buy multiples when you get to that one that you paint. You're like, ooh, I'm keeping that. And not feel bad about like buying another one.
Yeah.
At $20, it's something that you'll get your well more than the money out of if you paint it 2 or 3 times practicing. But that's viewer's choice, really. Do as you will. Especially in miniature, as you should be attempting to paint thinly rather than glomming paint on your model. You could paint this thing a dozen times and never have to worry about it. And just reprime it each time. Especially for airbrush priming. All bets are off if you choose to use rattle can primer, because that'll clog details over time on its own. Be a little careful there. But again, the scale of the model will help with that a lot.
Why would you choose to reprime rather than just paint over it?
Depending on if you want those colors to intrude and what colors they are. Her skin was blue, so I primed to get rid of the blue.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
It's like putting kills on a wall at your house. Sometimes you don't have to, but depending on the color and the color you're going over the top with, it's easier to prime the surface and start from fresh than to worry about, hey, it's going to limit the way I can paint if I'm having to paint over red.
Gotcha.
Because I'm going to have to paint in very heavy coats of colors that cover red without letting it show through, and that may not be where I want to go. I may want to practice my glazing, and I don't want to do it over red, or I don't want the red to show through. So just starting from your 0 point is always the best.
Gotcha.
Now, that doesn't mean that I couldn't have chosen to use the blue as underpainting and painted flesh, but I just wanted to paint this up in grayscale to show you then glazing over grayscale as a thing. So I already had in my head what I was going to be doing.
I see.
But yeah, it's always up to you. There's no hard, fast rule.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was because at a certain point, so many layers of paint, makes the primer weak, but that wouldn't make sense, so.
Doesn't make the primer weak. You can just lose detail
Yeah.
in the recesses or in the fine detail on the face and stuff like that. So it's important to just pay attention, and if you feel like you're losing some detail, you can knock it back a little bit.
Space Marine's looking good.
Why, thank you, Shelby.
Yeah, I love the pink Space Marine. It's looking good.
And thank you. Kind words.
Game Delay said, I make it easier to paint overly detailed models by using lots of primer.
Yeah. Let me just kill all of the detail on this model really fast. It will make it so much easier to paint.
Lapo said, glazing over your grayscale, is that like slap chop without the dry brush?
Yeah, you're spending a lot more time. It's all underpainting is what we refer to it as around here. And you do it for hue, you do it for value. When you're doing it in grayscale, you're doing it for what we call value. You're doing it for the brightness, creating the contrast on the model to get the shadows and highlights where you want them, and then adding color very thinly over the top that, kind of layers over that contrast to give you the final look. And so slap chop is just a term that was derived for that to make it seem like it's a great way to paint quick, especially with speed paint type products being so prevalent. And that's one way to look at it. You can do what people refer to as a zenithal highlight to get a very similar effect. right? It's all just going to be what level of detail do you want on the finished product.
Awkwardish, that's a great idea. Said I plan on picking up a few texture trainers to be my year-by-year benchmark piece.
Those
That's
are great.
a great idea for them.
Right? Because it gives you a really good look at the same piece done time after time, trying new techniques. Hey, look at where I was in 2023, 2024. I love it. They're meant to be, just a great creative release. Some people will see it, and I've had people tell us, "Oh my God, I just want to paint the thing and put it on the fridge. Do whatever you want to with it." And other people that are like, "Yeah, I'm setting up to have it be a practice piece." So that's really what it was intended to be. Again, why we built it and chose to throw it in a very valuable category as far as what you get for the price, so that you're not afraid. Painting shouldn't be something where you're worried about ruining the model in front of you.
Really should not be.
Just paint.
Oh no, they discontinued the mini that they used to use for the, as a benchmark.
Awkwardish.
Yeah. So it's the perfect solution.
Awesome.
I love it. And you'll have some different options, which will be fun. Unless you want to do the same one.
I'm excited for all the next ones that we have coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have an ETA on any of those?
I'm hoping that the Hunter is done. We have a male sci-fi bounty hunter coming out. That's the next one. It's being sculpted right now. I'm hoping to get final sculpt back this weekend on him. And then that'll allow us to start digging in. I just have to get it supported, and then we can be printing. So as soon as supports are done, which is usually a day or so, then it can be being printed and tested, and I'll paint one, or you'll paint one on stream.
Sounds good to me.
Jen says she loves the pink.
I bet you do, Jen.
We did it.
Everybody say hi, Jen. Hope you feel better.
Hi, Jen. Hope you feel better.
Some bug going around the office.
Yeah, I blame Gabe.
I blame your mom.
What?
Oh, dang.
It
Well,
was
kinda
Gabe
started with
first.
Gabe.
And then he got mom sick.
I mean,
Yeah.
that was over a week ago, so that's not the way that works.
Yeah, I guess it was long ago.
That was long enough
Oh
ago
gosh,
that I don't
Shannon
think
hasn't
that's how
been
that
in
works.
at all this week.
Huh?
No, she was here on Monday.
She was here on Monday. Yeah,
Oh.
she's been out yesterday and today.
Oh, bummer.
Hope she's feeling better.
Yeah. When you say hi to your mom, tell her I hope she's
Does
feeling
Shelby
better.
look like the kind that says hi to her mom?
Yes.
Rude.
I was about to say.
Rude.
Have you met Shelby?
Yes, I will.
Please do convey
I shall.
my well wishes to such a fine and upstanding part of our community here at my
Okay, now you're just going for brownie points.
Well, brownies are delicious.
This is also true.
No, Kyle. She's not going to be here
I
on
already
Friday.
spent my lemon bar points earlier today,
Lemon
which
bar
were
points?
well spent, by the way.
Yes.
The lemon bars, great.
Thank you.
They are. I tried to tell her. She's like, they're all right.
They're all right.
Well, it's because
They're fine.
It's
That's what
because-
she said.
it's because to me it's half presentation and the presentation is like a 0. So they're 50%
The
good.
presentation's really good until you cut them.
Yeah, well, but you're supposed to cut them and put them on a plate and dust them with powdered sugar. And I couldn't do any of that.
We're not at a Michelin star restaurant, Shelby.
I know that.
Yeah, we're kind of at Monument Hobbies where it's mostly snacks in an old file cabinet. So you rank a 10 out of 10.
I
Probably
care.
an 11 out of 10, technically.
Panic Bomb said, should I drill out gun barrels on my scouts or be a heretic and not do it?
Heretic.
I will kill all of you.
Heretic.
Drill your barrels.
This is a really odd looking barrel. Looks flat to me.
Horrible.
I didn't
Docked.
even think about that for my
Jason's gonna be docking my pay.
for
Dock
my
your
model.
pay.
My model
Jen,
has a
no
gun.
payroll for Jordan this week. He's donating it to the Drill Your Barrel Foundation. It's like a swear
lying.
jar. If you don't drill your barrel, it goes in
my gosh.
the donation jar.
Can you imagine if we had a storage jar?
Oh no. Hell no.
Dingo the Gringo said, I bought your paints for my brother and I when I went home and only used the CMYK and had great success. Do you guys ever paint using just CMYK? Also, a good paint idea would be a chromatic gray if you guys don't have one.
A good paint idea would be a chromatic gray. Well, we have lots of wonderfully colored grays.
Mm-hmm.
We got a brown gray. We've got.
I'm using neutral gray right now.
Yeah.
When you say a chromatic gray, it's not a familiar term. I know it's not a pigment name. Are you wanting a cool gray? Is that what you're talking about?
Or like a
I think they're talking about a color that
like
has
a mercury color almost. I think that's
just a gray that is not neutral. It has some warmth or coldness to
Yeah, we
it
have
by
a whole
virtue of
line of
having
warm
like
grays.
a green or red. There's a red gray. There's a brown gray. Yeah, we definitely have lots of wonderful and very chromatic grays.
And black with any color creates gray.
Also what he said.
If your disabled butt can drill barrels, so can you. Exactly, Panda. You tell him.
Wow. I'm getting thrown under the bus right now. This is
No.
uncomfortable.
Kyle banned you
nobody's
from
throwing
Horace
you under the
Heresy
bus.
Night.
That's not how that works. You need to relearn your definitions. We are calling you out.
Kyle banned you from Horse Heresy Night.
Chromatic gray is made from CMY instead of black and white. Yeah, all you're doing is creating a mud base, right? Like a mother color. It's not really a gray because you're going to need black and white. You're getting just a combo of hues, which it can work. But in today's paint world where, we're not limited to like 5 colors unless you're going hard mode, get a gray and add color to it, right? Get something like dark neutral gray and add a color to it. Especially the transparents work great for that. If you're going hard mode, you're testing yourself on your mix capabilities, then yeah, by all means. But
And Kyle, you're banned from Horse Heresy Night. Not me. I'm flipping the script on you. You're banned. Drill your barrels.
Ghost Hunter said, can we get a green gray? Like the idea of a mossy green gray? Is this another olive drab bit?
No,
Yes.
I mean,
yes, he wants drab.
is it?
We have a drab
It
coming.
feels that way.
We have more of a field drab coming in the next sets.
Woo!
It's more of a brownish green, right? It literally is like a field drab, right? I think the name is drab brown or brown drab that I called it. But yeah, you've got a drab coming, less green, more brown. But a very good color.
The Punisher said, show us field drab now.
No.
Nope.
No.
You don't get that.
Brownish, greenish, brown. Yes, Hellfire, exactly. Lion Creative in here.
Lion Creative is here.
Happy birthday.
Is it Lion's birthday?
Punisher said jerk. Jerk.
The dude said, I saw a rattle can color called Purple Rain. Is this a real color? If so, why don't you make it? Because it doesn't make sense.
Purple Rain does not make sense.
Nothing.
What is Purple Rain?
I don't
It's a
even
Prince
know.
record.
Yeah, well, I know that, but in terms of color, that's why we don't make it.
Who's
It's like
Prince?
Wizard's butt.
Who's
Not a
this,
thing.
who's this Prince guy? I didn't
Electric
know that.
Uncle Trash, hello.
Rain that is purple. Purple.
But yeah,
doesn't do that.
was it Dingo that was talking about the
The CMYK?
CMYK stuff?
Yeah.
If you haven't, try the transparents, because the transparents are really what will get you there from a painting CMYK. Use the red, the blue, and the yellow. While not a true cyan and not a true magenta. You can use dark magenta too, because dark magenta is a single pigment magenta.
Yeah.
And is very translucent. So using those colors is more akin to what you're going to want from painting with CMYK, because the mixes you're going to get are fantastic. they're not going to be opaque, right? Like any of that painting, you're not going to get a high level of opacity from single pigment CMYK painting, but you're getting your opacity through your tint, tone, and shade with the white and the black. So that is a fantastic way to paint that way. A lot of the artists that, you know, typically migrate towards CMYK painting in the acrylic land really love our transparents for that reason. They act like very, very high grade artist acrylics with already a lower viscosity and opacity. We're already getting a metallic look, and that's 2 colors. So again, great way to practice your texturing. And we haven't even gone to the bright colors yet. But because of the way that the contrast is affected here from very bright to very dark, even though this is just dark neutral gray to neutral gray, right? We're creating a bunch of contrast that appeals as shine to the human eye, and then juxtaposed against the lack of contrast we've created on everything else makes all of these textures look very rough, right? Because they don't have reflection to them, and draws this out as metal. So this is a good study in how keeping your colors from being very bright, because, I mean, again, look at this versus white, right? You look at this and it looks bright, but pow, we're not even anywhere close to bright colors yet.
No, not even.
But we already read as metal. And the reason it does is because it's next to colors that are even darker than it that don't show reflectivity, right? So this is how you use value scaling to create textures and material on your model, and you can do it through every value level along that scale. You don't have to punch your metals to white in order to get them to look like metal. You can stay dark. It's the way you would do metallics in a lower light environment, or darker metallics, right? You just have to be able to adjust everything else in proximity to the metal to not have that reflection and to not even go as bright as your dark metal to make it look like it's still, you know, a solid surface. Like if you went up and hit it, it would ting, 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 and this stuff would not, you know. So first highlight is just straight neutral gray. I'm not adding anything. This is dark neutral gray. Neutral gray is the only thing you see on these models right now.
Dingo the Gringo said, "What is a transparent? Is that a different line than the Pro Acryl?"
Yeah, well, it's Pro Acryl transparent. So we have expansion set 2 out of all of our expansion sets. That is all of the transparent paints. So it comes with red, blue, yellow, white, black, brown, orange, purple, and green, right? And so it gives you a broad range of colors that are all like, the green is a phthalo green. It's a single pigment phthalo green. The blue is phthalo blue. I might be lying to you there. I got to go back on my pigment list and look. And then iridine yellow. So you've got a bunch of single pigment colors in there that are very good high grade artist pigments, like all the rest of our paints, but with no opacifier to them, and with a different medium that allows them to maintain that low viscosity, hold their pigmentation very, very firm in suspension, so that as you're painting with them, unlike paints that you've thinned or diluted with other mediums or water, where the pigment can start to separate and get kind of cloudy if you're doing it really light, you can thin the transparents down to next to nothing, and they'll still give you hue in an even layer. So great paints. You'll see BabyJ use them on damn near everything he does.
Yep, very true.
What's an opacifier? A color like white, like titanium white or carbon black. Usually white and black are the best opacifiers. There are other pigments too, but most pigments are not have very high opacity level. That's why you'll find that a lot of companies' paints, when they are like single coverage paints, are also very much desaturated, because they have to add a lot of white or black to them to get the color to actually be opaque enough to cover a previous layer. It's why you'll see with a lot of our paints, we get really good coverage, but you can also glaze with them very easily, because we don't use like that tremendous amount of opacifiers. The only time we're really using white or black is to get the color where we want it, right? I only mix pigments to get the color. I don't mix for opacity, which means some of our colors, like dark magenta and things like that, are going to be a lot less opaque, because that's the way the color is.
Yep.
I can't deliver the color if I add white or black to it.
And you can really tell the difference between using a transparent and using an opaque version of it. It is a significant change.
Oh, Dingo, with our paints, you can thin all of them way down to almost nothing, but any one that is a blended pigment is going to always have a break point as you separate the pigment out of suspension by adding, especially when you dilute with water. If you dilute with our glaze wash medium, go berserk. Like, you can get it down to nearly no color with all of our paints, and they work just great. I dilute with water pretty much primarily.
As do I, for the record. To whom it may concern.
Now, if I can find my bright neutral gray, ta-da! Bright neutral gray.
Source, we thought about doing a fluorescent blue, and then we
have
realized,
one here.
Yeah, our sky blue is pretty much fluorescent blue.
Yeah. So with the fluorescents, as funky as it sounds to say this, we didn't design them for the glow in the dark part of it. We designed them to be very, very, very punchy and normal visual light, because that's really where they shine. Bad pun, but you get my drift. And blue doesn't do it, right? Blue will fluoresce, right? The fluorescent blue pigment will fluoresce under a UV light, but since that's not what we're building the paints for, it's not a gimmicky paint line. It's meant for things like OSL, and you'll get better OSL out of transparent blue and sky blue than you will out of the fluorescent blue. Or they would be so similar that doing fluorescent blue would feel gimmicky to me. Does that make sense? Because I already have paints that work just as well for that.
Yeah. And like we've said many times before, we don't want you guys to have to buy multiple paints that are the same thing.
Yeah, they really are like the same thing.
Yeah. So we want you guys to purchase one thing that you use, and you get multiple different utilizations out of it based on the types of mediums or the way you use it.
Dingo the Gringo also asked, is your cyan and magenta single pigment?
So we don't have a...
There's not a true cyan in the
Mhm.
line.
Yeah.
It's coming. The magenta, by name magenta, is desaturated. It is kind of a light magenta. Dark magenta is a single pigment magenta.
This is the magenta.
Queen of Credone magenta. So
versus dark magenta.
yeah, the dark magenta is what you want to use if you're doing CMYK.
Yep.
The magenta's fine, right? But it's too bright. So you won't get all the mixes the way you expect them.
Yep. Mercousin, how would you use transparent blue to do plasma effects? I would start with base coating it white.
Yep.
And then taking the transparent blue and making it into almost a wash, using a little bit of the glaze and wash medium. You can also use water too. The glaze and wash medium will give you a little bit better handling on it, because you can make it thinner and make it less intense at the same time, without having it be too watery. And then you just put that over the white. It's literally 2 steps. You can go back and you can highlight all the edges of the coils if you really want to make it punch more. But as a starting point, that's literally 2 steps and you're done. That for like a tabletop model is perfect. Yeah, Dingo the Gringo. So our transparent red tends to, when you thin it down, it becomes more magenta than it does like a true like fire engine-y red. And the blue, while not being cyan, does thin down to something that will work in a similar sort of vein. Like we mentioned before, it's not cyan, but it'll be close.
I gotta be honest, if I'm ever doing CMYK painting, I'm using phthalo blue anyway. Cyan's not a color I enjoy.
Yeah.
It makes all my blues look too green. So I prefer phthalo that's ultra cool. But I like darker tones too, so I'm not really ever painting for super punchy, bright, saturated colors as often. We have a lot of them in the line, but my personal style doesn't take me there very often. So now this is just bright neutral gray. And now I am starting to just use a lot thinner paint and glazing a little bit more so that each one of my brush strokes kind of blends into the background more. And watching my stroke direction.
Yarit's Tony said you can't dive in a pool if it's too phthalo.
Wow.
That word doesn't mean what you think it does.
Yeah, not the.
E for effort, buddy.
Mm.
Keep them coming.
Don't encourage them, Shelby. Don't encourage them.
I can't help it. It made me giggle.
It made me giggle. She's like Jen. She is like the perfect person to take the place of Jen.
I know,
She
because
giggles
Jen
at the
would have
same
laughed.
Poop jokes and bad humor.
Jen would have laughed. We all know this.
She probably is. She's like, that's my girl.
Game Delay said there's pee in that fallow pool.
What?
Look at it. Gotta look at the way it's spelled.
Oh, jeez.
Tallow is made with pee. Turns out. That is how that works.
Nico the Gringo said, sounds good. I just like mixing my own colors since that's what I grew up doing in school. I can make it work with what you have recommended. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, our paints are really built on being able to use them however you want. They're very, very pigmented while also being very lightweight in feel. So the low viscosity is really what you want when dealing with miniatures. People that say they want thick paint spend 90% of their time thinning their paints down. So
It's true. It's very true.
I've been painting for 45 plus years, and not saying I know all the things, but I definitely know it feels better when painting models. And you want something that's thin but doesn't feel like a thin paint, if that makes sense. I still want opacity out of it. I don't want to have to fight with it. I don't want to layer it up 50 million times. You know, I just want it to work. And that's what all the paints do. The transparents, be very careful with them because they are highly, highly pigmented. They don't use them right out of the bottle unless you really want that color.
Yeah. Experiment with them a little bit first. You'll get a feel for it.
Yeah, you're going to want to thin them down.
But they are amazing.
Miniatures Den, thank you for the sub.
Well, thank you, Miniatures Den. How are you?
What's going on, man? Good to see you. Miniatures Den, a wonderful painter on the Twitchers. Make sure to click that man's name, give him a follow.
They're making me
Well,
paint pink.
huzzah, huzzah.
Making me
I'll
paint
just
without
throw
color.
back my legs and
Making.
Well,
pollute
you're
my
making yourself
britches
paint
with
without
delight.
color.
Making him paint pink.
Oh.
Shelby's making me paint pink.
He's happy to paint pink.
Whoa.
He got
Putting
kind of
words in my
he
mouth.
got kind of excited to paint pink. Look at him.
This is a lie.
Look at that little smile.
This is a lie. I'm not smiling. This is just my face.
Oh, you're smiling. Look at that.
This is my face.
That's just he has a perpetual smile. Some people have resting bitch face. He has resting Jordan face, which is just a big grin. Jordan walks through life just happy. That's great.
That's pretty accurate, to be honest with you.
I try to knock him down a peg. Never works
No.
for longer than like a second. And even then he's faking it as he goes and sulks off into his office, laughing the whole way.
Yeah.
Game Delay said, I didn't know you made the texture trainers out of metal, Jason.
Look at me.
He's doing the thing.
Yeah, by punching this up, now you could stop after we did the neutral gray on this and then start doing neutral gray on everything else. But I really, when I'm doing something like non-metallic, I'd like to have the metals read a little brighter before going in and sketching value on everything else that has a texture, so that I have kind of an upper ceiling. I probably won't take the metal to pure white on the specular highlights or the edge highlights. I might, but I get it dialed up enough to where now I then bring everything else on the model up, using this as a gauge of where not to pass by unless I'm painting something else reflective, right? Like I got her gauntlet over here should be at the same value, or have parts of it that are perhaps if I do like a gold or bronze on the hilt of the dagger, you know, maybe that will come up as bright. But set the bar for yourself when doing things like this and doing sketching of value. Set some sort of a bar to know that you're not supposed to cross that with these other colors, because if you take these other colors up too bright, they look shiny too, and that may not be what you're going for. And then you run yourself into a wall, so to speak, where if you bring this up and then you bring these up to the same because you like the way they look highlighted, then you have no further than white that you can go to highlight, and it may not give you enough punch above the value of the other materials on the model to make it look shinier than you want, like say the leather, especially if it's like beaten up, right? So.
Awkwardish Panda said that smile was pride. BabyJ is silently proud that Shelby figured out how to get him to paint pink. I didn't have to work that hard.
I mean, she
honestly.
didn't have to work on either one of us that hard, so
Yeah.
we're just big, pushovers.
They're just big softies.
But also, I had a lot of fun painting the paint.
Exactly.
I'm not having fun
And
at
I knew
all.
you
I'm
would.
just kidding.
He's a liar.
Game Delay said, "Why do I think that Space Marine just wants a hug?"
It's Hugbear's friend.
Yeah.
We should name Hugbear's friend.
Oh my gosh, we get to name. I have no ideas.
Oh, wait, you have no ideas? What?
Well, not for a name. Hellfire said, "This is a grin of suffering." No. He's fine.
Miniatures, Den, what have you been working on lately, man?
Source said, "Adeptus Hugicus."
That's actually really funny.
Heine and his friend
His
Tush.
friend Tush.
All right.
I love it.
His name is Tush.
No. Tushicus.
Tushicus?
Tushicus?
Yeah,
All
it's
right.
Tushicus, right? They all have names. They're like Tushicus.
Yeah, Heine and his friend Tushicus.
All right.
It's amazing.
I'm putting a T on his shoulder pad.
Coming over in a week. Are you going to be here at Adepticon? We got to get some time to meet if you're going to be at the show. I would assume yes if you're coming around this time. It's only like 3 weeks away. Oh my God. No, 4 weeks maybe.
It's 4 weeks, I think.
God, this is scary.
Game Delay, you spelled it wrong. It's Tushicus. It's a U, not an I.
Not Tushy Kiss, people.
No.
Come on now.
Tushicus.
Tushy Kiss. Well, yeah, because you've got Gamma here coming up real
I got Gamma
soon.
in 2 weeks.
Gamma.
And then we got Adepticon, and then we got WonderCon.
You
Woo-wee.
have a really spicy
I am not looking forward to my March
calendar.
to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to have a lot of fun, but if I live through it, it'll be amazing.
You know what they say about March? In like a lion, out like a lamb.
Huh?
I don't know.
Gluteus Maximus, yes.
I think that's what they say about
You
the
won't
weather.
be at Adepticon. Oh no, are you just coming over to teach a class? And if so, where? Are you going to Austin?
There we go. T for Tushicus.
Oh my gosh.
Miniatures Den, we gotta find a way to do some work
Incredible.
together. We'll sponsor you to get you out there at Adepticon next year.
Bye, Jade. Have a good night.
Be great to have you come paint the booth for a bit.
Is it going to be Tushicus the first?
Obviously.
Vegas and Seattle, nice. Are you going to Verco's? Is that what you're doing with Gary and the team? Got a good thing building out there. Very excited about it.
Burko's Vault?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
close enough that they're starting to put together like painting. They want to do
Classes.
local paint nights on Fridays.
Oh, that's
and I
cool.
was like, wow, that'd be a great thing to get a gang from Phoenix to do a road trip for the weekend.
Oh, that'd be so
I've
dumb.
contacted Gary, and I think they're excited about if they can get a group together that we could bring some artists up and hang out on a Friday,
That would be a blast.
do some fun painting.
For fun.
Be kind of neat.
Yeah.
Miniatures Den said, "Earlier I said that I completely forgot to follow up the convo we were having on IG. Said he'd love to come down."
Trust me, I know what it's like to be busy, man. No rush. You do it at your time.
Ooh,
We're
excited
here
to
if
see
you
the
wanna talk.
museum. Yeah, museum will be up. Grizz Christofferson said, "Draw a symbol like butt cheeks on the right shoulder."
Ha! The chapter emblem. It's just a big butt. I love it.
I was gonna do the T is like a glowing green like the eyeballs. Thought that'd be funny.
You could draw a heart on the other shoulder.
Oh, done.
Yes.
Done.
Girls. See, it's not that hard. It is 3:57.
Oh my gosh.
What? It's 4 o'clock already? Are you
Yeah.
kidding me? An anatomically correct heart that says mum.
It says mom.
Mum. It's got a big aorta pumping.
No, it's a tribute to Heine with this dookie gold chain.
Oh, the heart should be gold
Yes.
because the heart
Yeah, there you
on
go.
Heine's thingamabob.
Now you're cooking with grease. I like it.
Mhm.
You just say now you're cooking with grease?
I
She
sure
did in fact
did.
say that.
I did not stutter either.
Damn.
She's your assistant.
I blame Jen.
A bear face. Now we're getting crazy. A non-metallic heart to match Heine's.
I mean, if I were to do it, it would be non-metallic gold.
Yeah.
I wouldn't just paint it gold.
I love it. Heine's eyebrows on the helmet. I think the heart is enough, but I love the enthusiasm. See you later, Miniatures Den.
Yeah.
Have a good one. Have a wonderful night. I always forget he's a time traveler. He's already in the future.
Where is he from?
Miniatures Den, before you leave, where are you at?
Well, we might have already left.
Germany?
Sounds vaguely correct. Somewhere in that, like, general vicinity.
Europe.
Yeah.
I lived in Spain.
Italian, but live in Spain.
Mhm.
I knew you
Kyle-
didn't live in your home country.
Kyle said, I don't always agree with Shelby, but now we are cooking with grease is an amazing phrase. Thank you. I think I probably got that from my mom, so
That
Makes-
sounds about right.
makes more sense. Gamedley said there are no bad ideas in a brainstorming session except for half of the ones I suggested. No, none of them were bad ideas. Just too many. Too many good ideas.
That can be overwhelming.
Yeah.
That's like working here. It's like looking at Gabe's whiteboard. We have way too many good ideas. How do you get all this crap done?
Yeah.
We would have to hire everybody in chat
God, no.
to start,
Oh my gosh. Can you imagine?
We wouldn't get anything done.
and then we wouldn't get anything done.
Can you imagine if everybody from chat works here? I want you to think about this for a second. Just like really
I wasn't
internalize
trying to
that
make
thought.
a go down the rabbit hole kind of conversation out of this, but no.
Yardstone, he said, when do I fill out my I-9? Wait, we don't? Nope, sorry, you are not employed by Monument Hobbies.
Nope. No W-2s for you.
I realized when I was filling out, I think when I was filling out my W-2 to work here, I was filling out something for my taxes, and I didn't know what to put for the state tax percent, because you can, like, choose. And they never taught us how to fill out tax forms in school, so.
Of course not. They
Yeah,
never do
because
any
they
of that
don't
kind of
teach you anything valuable, really.
Yeah.
And so I just put 0%, and I was like, I'll get back to it. Like, I'll ask my parents, and I'll get back to it. And I never got back to it. So it's been 0% for state tax the whole time that I've been working here. And I have a feeling that it's not going to be great for me come
At
April.
least state tax isn't that much. So
Yeah, that's true. But I have no idea what it's going to look like.
you might gonna have to pay.
I might gonna
maybe.
have to pay. Now I'm cooking with grease. Exactly.
That decision was not, in fact, cooking with grease.
No, I changed it though. So now I'm cooking with grease. It's just tax fraud, nothing serious.
It's not tax fraud. It's just
No, it'd be tax fraud if I avoided paying it. Right?
I think, well, tax fraud is when you report it incorrectly.
Oh
yes,
yeah.
on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also sometimes on accident.
Oh, yeah, they don't care.
It's not tax fraud yet. No. Don't worry.
I love the meme, which is, the tax system is, wait, you mean I have to pay you out of my earnings? Yes. Okay, well, how much do I owe you? Oh, no, we don't do that. What do you mean you don't do that? No, you have to tell us how much you owe us. Oh, okay, so I get to tell you, yes, and if you're wrong, we take you to jail.
Right.
And the
Isn't that
guy's like,
crazy?
wait a minute, so you're not going to tell me, no, that's not our job. But I get to tell you, and then you get to decide if I'm right? If you already know what the number is, why don't you just tell me? No. You tell us. And
you
then
just
we
gotta
tell you if
hope
you're
it's
right.
Jen, I fixed it, so it should be good.
Income tax is stupid. This is my first time ever paying income tax.
Oh
What
yeah.
are you talking about? You had a job. You paid income tax.
It's state to state though. Like
Not in Seattle. You don't pay income tax in Seattle?
Yeah, you do. You pay federal. 100%.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry. State income
State
tax.
income
no,
tax is irrelevant.
Xenobon.
It's not even
I'm
a big
still paying
number.
taxes. Just
Not irrelevant, but not
It's like
worth
2% or something.
Like I used to have friends that are like, I'm moving where they don't have state income tax. I'm like, okay, well, tell me how your sales tax goes. Tell me how your sales tax and property taxes are when you get there.
No.
Because they make it up somehow. I grew up in Texas. They didn't have income tax, but good God, where the other taxes are.
Game Delay said it's only tax fraud if it's from the tax region of France. Otherwise, it's just sparkling peculation.
Yep, there you go.
Will that hold up in court if I have to go?
Yes. Tell them Slow Fuse told you. Tell them my friend's Game Delay, Mr. Delay, who's an attorney,
Yeah.
and
Can
Slow
I
Fuse,
call
who's
to
my
the stand,
boss. They
Mr.
told me this
Delay?
is the way this works. It'll go over great.
I was
Shelby.
told by credible sources
We have
that
bail
this is
money.
how this
Don't worry. Monument can afford bail money.
Perfect. Yeah, fraud does require intent, so I'm good there.
Ah,
It is 4:04.
Did you want to keep going, Jason?
no. I got to take my nephew out to his birthday dinner tonight.
So
I got some other stuff.
Where are you guys going? Anywhere fun?
He gets to pick, and I think he likes to pick steak, so I assume we're going to get steak, but I don't know anything more than that.
Okay. All right then. Yeah, because his birthday was what, last week?
The first.
Yeah.
It was on the 1st.
Is it the first or the second?
First.
So weeks ago.
Yeah. But Jason's been busy.
I was out of town.
Been out of town. Been busy.
I was out of town doing the Miniac thing.
Oh yes, accurate. I'm gonna draw this heart on here, and then I'm gonna be done for the day.
Aw, yeah. Jason, which grays are you using?
Huh?
Which grays are you using?
Right now, bright neutral gray. So this is just dark neutral gray, and bright neutral gray so far. And my bright neutral gray is fairly diluted, so I'm probably not at full brightness on it yet, but close, like up here, it's very close. But like you can see how it dims down as I go down here. The first layer that I do, I typically use fairly diluted so that it kind of acts as an in-between color without having to spend time mixing it. So if you dilute it and then you kind of glaze the first layer on, it gives you a nice blended bottom layer, and then you go back over it with the exact same color, undiluted or diluted much less, and that'll pump the vibrancy up as I work.
Jen said, "Oh, that's cool. Thanks for the invite."
No comment.
Yakers,
No
McGakers.
I got nothing. Hi, Jen. Good to see ya.
Jen, I forgot to talk to you. I forgot to talk to you about The Bachelor.
Oh gosh.
But I will spare them, but I might send you a G chat later.
I might send you a chat later.
Because there are some things I would like to say.
Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us today.
Yeah, Punisher says committing a fraud does require intent, but convicting you of such does not require such petty things as intent. Turns out.
Well, don't forget
That didn't work.
Huh?
No, I was putting her on an angle. That didn't work.
Oh, yeah. Thank you guys so much. If you are still here from one of the raids, thank you so much for hanging out with us. If you are new here, we are Monument Hobbies. We make all the fantastic paint that we've been using on stream today. You can find it on our wonderfully well-positioned store link.
Woohoo!
Which Shelby has been so kind to type into the chat for us.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Did it. Love
Auf
it.
Wiedersehen.
O'Neill. Auf Wiedersehen. Bis morgen.
Ooh.
You can find all the paints, all the supplies, all the bags, all the wonderful things that we make and sell, as well as all of the miniatures that we sell on our store as well. So feel free to drop by and pick something up. Also, you can check out the FLGS link, which is a great place to find many of those products as well in a local store nearby where you are.
Hey, Game Delay, I'm gonna give you some pointers on the whole Bachelor thing. There's a bunch of women sitting around wondering why it is that they have to share the only man in the building with all these other women. There you go. End of story. And the guy cries about it.
And he gets to make out with all of them.
He makes out with all of them and then cries about it. Great
It's
show.
Great.
Move along.
Mechanized Dimp Buster bought the full line this week.
Thank you,
Fantastic.
Ghost
That's
Hunter.
awesome.
I wish we had the bell here.
Yeah.
Shelby
Oh.
would ring the bell.
Ding, 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 ding.
Love that bell.
Don't forget to check out the FLGS link as well.
Yeah, alright, Stoney's like, how do I get to be that guy?
Dang it, I already said FLGS link. The Discord link, where we have, hey, Ghost Hunter even already said it. Over 3,000 amazing artists
And
Ghost
Hunter.
Ghost Hunter.
And Ghost
On
You
Hunter.
can say it's over 3,500 now.
It really is.
It keeps growing. Thank
It
you so
was-
much for growing our little community. Tangent, the Go Back Mini release window next Thursday.
Woohoo!
Next Thursday, we might have a little special something cooked up for the show next Thursday too. So we'll see how that goes.
Yep. But make sure you join the Discord to hang out with all of us cool people. It's a good place to ask questions when we're not live. If you do want to join us live, we are live Monday through Friday from 2 to 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. I'm not going to bother doing the conversion for you. It is 4:09 right now.
So we start
Look
2
at
hours
the
ago.
clock. Yes.
Whatever time it was 2 hours ago for you, that's when we start.
Yep.
Do the math.
And then we end 9 minutes ago. Right now.
Perfect.
Your time.
We did it.
We did it.
All right, everybody. Have a wonderful evening.
Yeah. We're gonna find somebody to raid. We will see y'all tomorrow. Have a wonderful evening.
Bye.
Adios.
Bye-bye.